Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Jay Johns, founder and CEO of 3R Interactive, and bringing to you another conversation within Caffeinated Advice. And I'm here with my cup of coffee, the little chip in it, in my cup. But I really like this cup, so I'm gonna just keep using it, even though it's got a big chip taken out of it. So today I want to talk first. Okay, let me back up first. I want to make the comment that I want to start by illustrating that the whole purpose of me doing caffeinated advice, was to get people sort of more information that are interested in building some sort of technology component, usually as a for their company in some way, but they just happen to be non-technical and they don't happen to have a technical co-founder or the equivalent of a CTO, chief technology officer, or anything like that. And so essentially what I'm trying to do is just give a bunch of information that allows entrepreneurs to just start down the path. And I kind of equate what I do to being the lighthouse in the distance. That if you have to go down a path of something you've never done before. In the case of building a piece of technology, if you're non-technical, you can feel like you're in this fog of not really knowing what to do. And so what I would like to be is sort of this lighthouse that gives you some sort of a direction, that's like, hey, start walking down this path. Now, there's a high chance that you might need to turn left or right in order to avoid some obstacles. But for the most part, having some sort of direction is it's just so much more beneficial. So that's why I do this. And I'm not here to ask for anything. I'm just trying to give information, and hopefully I can increase some of that, the likelihood that certain projects can get made, and that I can reduce, the loss of tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, and reduce communication problems and things like that. So anyway, I just want to kind of get that out, because I don't know if I've really explained that in the other few episodes that I've made thus far. So yeah, that's my whole point. And hopefully I am providing value in some interesting piece of information for those who want to build some sort of technology but happen to not be a technical person. So let me get into that. So today's topic that I want to sit with you about is wrapped around, I really had this strong belief, and I'm really, really passionate about this notion that uh, actions are way more valuable than ideas. And I don't think that's a new concept, and I don't think that's something that if you were to just sort of sit down and think about it, you would disagree with. But I've noticed a lot of people throughout my time as an entrepreneur, throughout my time just, talking with people in general, that they're spending so much time coming up with the perfect idea, coming up with the perfect plan, without actually taking any steps to doing anything, you know? And to me, the things that get people excited is action, is you going out and saying, hey, I want to do this, so I'm just going to start doing it. I'm going to start cobbling together whatever I can do to start learning how to do these things, to start making makeshift versions. But because there's this notion that is locked into people's heads that you need to have the best version of something if you're going to release it. There's this worry that if you somehow put out a subpar version of something, particularly if it's your first attempt, that you're judged on your inability to be perfect. You're judged on it not being this perfect product. And I just can't agree with that. I really want people to just get out there and stop. And trust me, I'm someone who lives too much in my own head, and I live too much into the future. Once I was able to sort of get past this notion of, I don't know why I keep saying notion today, but once I started getting past the worry about what other people are going to say or think based on the stuff that I'm producing, it you will be surprised at how much further you're going to go, because you can make something, get it out, get some feedback, and then be able to know exactly what to do. Otherwise, what you're waiting on is the perfect sort of alignment of ideas to come about. You're waiting for the certain kind of technology piece to come together. You're waiting for your certain skill level in order for you to demonstrate what you can do. That's not how people learn. That's not how people get excited about your product anyway. They get excited, like, any product that you see started somewhere, and they didn't just, like, just get created in whatever form you see it in, even if it's like the best thing that you can think of. When I say a great product, it started somewhere, and it wasn't very good to start with, but people could see the seeds of value in it. And that's all you really need. And that's what you need as an entrepreneur. And that's what you need as someone who's a creative. You need to just get out of your own way, and you need to just start making stuff. And because whatever you, even if you had a whole book, my little notebook of ideas, this means nothing. An idea really has zero value. Let me just put it out there right now. Your idea doesn't mean anything, because everyone has ideas. Everyone, you know, and so what is important is the actions you're taking to actually make it happen. That's the important part, and I hope that comes across as clear as possible, and it gets people motivated to just get out there and start doing stuff, because whatever you have, um, in is like a vision for what you want to do. Of course, now I'm not saying that. Okay, let me step back. I can feel resistance because was this person. So I understand when I say just start making something. If your vision is to make a big, like building sized mural about something, but you haven't even learned the steps to do that, or maybe you haven't even experimented with using spray paints or something like that, right? Well, you still have to start somewhere. You still have to get good at it. You have to just start moving. Just saying, "Oh, I thought about doing that once," or "Oh, I had that idea," like, that's not important. This also is important when it comes to understanding that just because you have an idea, that doesn't somehow make you a valuable person in the creation of the thing. And I know that sounds harsh, but I've so many people I've talked to and tried to talk to people like me who are software developers, or just anyone who has the ability to make stuff, and they say, "Hey, I have an idea for something," and so you make it. You do all of the work by making it, and then you give me half the money because I had the original idea. Like, that doesn't fit. So your simple idea, whatever it is, your complex idea, your grandiose idea, has zero value. And I need you to understand that. What is important is your idea plus action. That is what's important. And I hope that I'm inspiring. Again, I'm just going to keep reiterating. I hope that I'm inspiring you to just do these things. Get up and just start working on something, even if it's just small little sketches of an idea that you have, so that way you can start moving towards the creation of it, and you can start thinking about little areas of the product that you wouldn't have thought about because you haven't taken the steps to figure out, so how would I actually make this thing? What would it feel like to use it? Right? um Man, I don't know why I'm just so fired up, but it's a passion of mine that needs to be communicated more often. So many people are locked into this systematic thing that just because they had an idea about something, that's somehow valuable, but it's not. Actions are what's valuable. So if you want something, if you want to be an entrepreneur, and especially if you want to be an entrepreneur that needs to get funded, you can't just walk around to everyone who might have some money, like a venture capital, and say, "Hey, I have an idea, now fund me." that doesn't like that doesn't compute. You need to be able to demonstrate that you can do the thing, that you somehow have some actionable steps that you can do as opposed to somebody else, that you can be a part of this team. So it's I don't know, man. I I want to make sure that I'm coming across clear. And part of the thing about these talks too is I don't come into this knowing exactly what I'm going to say. So any of the caffeinated advice things, there's just a topic, and I really do think of it as if I'm just sitting down with you all, enjoying a cup of coffee, sitting across the table from you, and having a chat. You know, because if we were to be sitting down with each other and you asked me a question and this kind of topic came up, I wouldn't have a like written out answer, right? It would just be things that are based off of my experience and things that I can think of in that moment. And sure, if I were to spend, 4 weeks on something, I could have a really solid response. But this ties into practicing what I'm preaching. I'm just putting stuff out there, right? I'm not expecting what I'm doing right now, this second, building this caffeinated advice thing, to be perfect, because you just need to try stuff. Me just sitting here in this little chair thing in my basement with a wooden wall behind me and a couple pieces of artwork. Could it be better? Of course, just the visuals and could be better, right? I'm sure that it could be argued that I should sit down and write out exactly what I want to say, but I want to be authentic, and I don't want to sound pre-recorded because I don't think there's value in that for me, for what I'm giving you. Because I really want, don't get me wrong, people who do this sort of thing that is, already written down and scripted. There's definitely value in those. What I'm saying is that I think there's something interesting about being able to just have a conversation between the two of us where it's not predetermined what's going to happen. I just think that's interesting. And hopefully other people find that interesting too. But see, and this is just a great example. I could have not started this until I had a perfect microphone, until I had a perfect camera, until I had 50 years of experience as opposed to 10 years of experience, right? Or however long it's been for me, 10 plus. So it's, I could have come up with a lot of reasons to get in my own way, even to just do this series. But I didn't. I made the choice. Let's just start. Let's just go and see where it takes us. And I really hope that is my biggest wish for everyone listening to this. And hopefully you can communicate that to anybody else who hasn't listened to this. Just start doing something. It's more important to just start moving in a direction than to sit and wait for everything to be perfect before you start, because that perfect will never come. And I want to see everyone succeed. I want all of your projects to be successful. I want to have everyone look back and say, I'm happy that I tried doing that. I have the firm belief that you will be happier looking back on your life. Here, let me rephrase that. See, this is an illustration of me going off the cuff. I just sort of talked about this topic a few days ago with someone, and it's funny because it's something I heard many, many years ago. It's this weird song by this band called Hoobastank, which I don't even know. I don't even know what the song was. It's just really old. But the phrase that has stuck with me was, "I would rather be me than maybe." And how I internalized that was, I'm not going to regret the things that I did do, but I'm going to regret more what I did not attempt to do. The regrets will come from where you fail to take action rather than trying something and learning from it and seeing what happens. So that's been internalized in me for a long time. I didn't actually put that into practice until a few years ago, because that song is really, really old. But I think it's important. I do. I'm a firm believer. I'm just a firm believer. And I want you to just start making stuff. So if your dream is to make a supercomputer that whatever has the ability to compute, you know, infinity, um, but you've never even coded before, well, then you start figuring out how you can go about doing this. Here's another little phrase that I've learned, I've used, that stuck with me for the longest time, which is be the flame, not the moth. And that's something I really believe in too. People are going to be more attracted to you if you are taking action, if you are moving forward. If you're the moth who's chasing after the flame, people just won't connect as much. But if you can illustrate, hey, this is my vision, this is my dream, and this is what I'm doing to try to make it happen, man, people get drawn to that. And I'm rambling. I totally am. I feel like I've brought my overall point home pretty hard. And I'm sure that there's going to be some conversation and some pushback on the notion that ideas aren't worth anything. But in the grand scheme of things, if you need to figure out how to put your ideas into action for them to actually have tangible value. If you're expecting other people to build the thing that you want to do, then your idea doesn't really work, right? Like, um, I don't know how I can really describe it. Ultimately, be motivated, start doing your thing, and just put it out there and get feedback and be upfront with the fact that, hey, this is just my first attempt at this thing. This is a prototype of something I have an idea for. If you're writing a play, if you're, you know, making music, whatever it is, if you have a vision to do your own thing within that space, then just do it. It's as simple as that. There's the caveat that things that I'm going to say are easier said than done by far. And I fully acknowledge that. But you will be way more satisfied because you took the risk. So, thank you all for indulging my little rant about how action is more valuable than ideas. And I really wish that everyone out in the world can pursue their dreams and is successful and finds happiness. And I look forward to our next conversation